Okay, let's do the procedure. Block. This is first what I do.
Yes, Kramnik doing the procedure not once but twice in the latest of Cheating Tuesday, as he calls Title Tuesday, a weekly online chess tournament, the most prestigious. And I've got the translations from Russian coming later on. But let's first have a look at this game, which Kramnik reports, and guess what? It's the same opponent. The young FIDE master, Tykhon Cherniaiev, Ukrainian, very strong prodigy player, and Kramnik reported him last week after he lost. What's going to happen here? Kramnik kicks off with e4. What leads him to the report? Well, who knows? We're going to find out. This is the game. Bishop c4, the Gucci Reza piano. Kramnik air keyboarding as he plays the move. Bishop c5 played, d3 and knight f6. Standard stuff on the board. Castles, d6 played and c3. Is Kramnik going d4? Well, he's got other ideas in mind, as we'll see. h3 now a common move to chuck in. Same as a5, gives some retreat room. We get bishop b3, Kramnik voluntarily tucking back. Coming round here, bishop a7, rook e1 and bishop e6, challenging this strong sniper. Kramnik nudges back, looks weird staring at two pawns, but d4 on the way one day. If ever d5, you open the eyes. So rook e8 now played, and d4 the main move here. But Kramnik goes his own way, full Fleetwood Mac with bishop g5, pinning and winning. Maybe not quite, because h6, the bishop drops back, and here Tykhon has a long think. Clock time's on the left, it's 2 minutes 26 for him, and finally he goes g5 after a minute's thought. He was calculating this. What's going on? Is this good for white? Well, there's no ability to bring a knight to intensify the pressure, but you do have to calculate this. King takes. Now there's this check. Now this is good for black. When the smoke clears, it's a complicated line, right? But none of that gone for. Kramnik nudges back. He assesses also that he shouldn't take the pawn. And now knight h5, great move. And there's a dark squared bind going on for black. So bishop h2 tucking back. Queen f6 intensifying that dark squared pressure. We get knight bd2 defending its brother, knight f4, and Kramnik in a bit of a bind, swinging round with the knight to f1. He wants to intercept this long range bishop, which is killing him. And now h5, a powerful move. Preparing g4, but g4 immediately played, still decent but not as strong, because now the bishop captures, the knight remains where it is, it's not kicked by a pawn, and knight e3, Kramnik desperately gets a chance to unravel. However, there is this amazing combination of knight h3 check. If pawn captures, you take here with the bishop. This is the trick. So king moves best, and then the knight spins to g5 here. Huge pressure. This is comfortable for black. But okay, it was missed. Can you imagine Kramnik's face if this one had been found? Instead, we see bishop h5, but it's not precise. It allows Kramnik to take here. Now we see queen recaptures, and this move is the point. You double attack on queen and pawn there. How are you defending both? Well, you have to go for this combination, which is played. You take my queen, I take yours. So instead queen captures, queen takes, pawn takes, but Kramnik survived the worst of it. Black has to bring the rook across to cover this pawn. There's not quite a check winning the rook. The knight covers. But best here after f4 and king f8 from Kramnik, preparing here knight e7, is to go king g2, bring the rook into the game. But Kramnik goes f5 instead, just giving black a chance for knight e7 and unravelling the pieces. Now we get knight f6, but knight g8. The knight's being forced off, because if you retreat with the knight, then there's king e7, knight f6. So this one played, king recaptures, king g2, king g7, and the rooks pile onto the h and g files, challenging this strong pawn here, weak pawn rather, on h6. We get a few more moves chucked in, the bishop now bouncing around. We're in opposite coloured bishops if those rooks ever come off, and Kramnik now decides to push the game with rook b1. He wants to win. a4, b4, he's cranking open the file. Pressure on b7 now, so it's defended with rook b8, rook b3, more moves on the board. They're playing low on time, but Kramnik up on the clock here. We get a liquidation of pawns, rook a3, bishop tucking back, and in just a moment Kramnik freaks, because after rook b2, king d3, look at his reaction here after pawn d5.
d5, ничего себе ход. Вот тебе ход.
This one took him by surprise, right? What an inhuman move. We get captures with check. King takes, pawn takes, c takes here. f6 check, from the rook to the side. Pawn captures, this one now drops. Level endgame here, great play by both players. Rook a6 check, rook b6 blocking, and we enter this opposite coloured bishop endgame. Notoriously drawish, because you set up the bind on the opposite colour to your opponent, and therefore you can never break it down. We're heading towards the finish. Few more moves played. It's an 80 move game, so this is why we've rattled through. We're getting to the juicy part, the block and report. These were the final moves. We do get another pair of pawns liquidated off the board, and when we finally get to here, this is how the game now ended and what Kramnik did following this.
Так, ну я даже не буду сразу делаю репорт, потому что я просто скажу так, что я проверил часть его партии, ну и так мне было все ясно с ним, но после предыдущей нашей партии, но я проверил и в общем оказалось, что он по качеству игры, играя, когда он набирает очки с топ-игроками, он с громадным отрывом самый лучший в истории шахмат. Вот я пока такой тизер сделаю. У него качество игры, ну там просто Карлсон, Накамура вообще отдыхают в этих партиях. То есть 35 партий у него подобных, и в 35 партиях там качество игры 93 с чем-то, что ли. У Магнуса, у Накамура около 90 в обоих. С теми же соперниками. Ну, то есть все, по-моему, очевидно, и эта партия лишний раз доказывает, что все очевидно. Как бы, так что... Ну, репорт я сделаю еще раз, очередной. Так что все защитники, я думаю, посмотрев этот материал, как бы все быстро.
And then, just for good measure, after reporting Cherniaiev, Kramnik goes on to play the Indian player Super Chess, whoever that is, I didn't look into the detail there, loses the game, and then blocks and reports that guy.
Super Chess, окей. В тайтлах. И, ну вот материал ждите, я вам все расскажу. И про вот моего предыдущего соперника. Посмотрю этого, ну, предыдущий там, выдающийся просто, выдающийся человек. Как и многие другие. В общем, я отключусь на данный момент, потому что доигрывать это...
Back to back, doubling down, Kramnik's going for a hat-trick next game he plays. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your comments down below, and if you want to see the first game between Kramnik and Cherniaiev, then check out the video on screen. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.